This guy right here is called Crassula socialis, and socialis means that it actually forms colonies, which you can see that this one is definitely doing. I've had this in my southwest facing window, and you can actually tell which direction it's been facing because it's a little lopsided. So if you don't want it to look this way, I would probably switch it around so that it gets even amount of light. However, if you could see here on this side, it's starting to get a little red, and I think that is its anthocyanins coming out, telling me that it is getting a little bit sun-scorched. So anthocyanins are kind of like they're antioxidants that kind of protect them from ultraviolet radiation. It's a little bit more like our melanin within our skin. And you can see that there's a little bit of puckering here as well. And what I might do as the warm weather is starting to happen and the sun is starting to get higher in the sky and it's getting a little bit more intense in the warm season is that I'm probably going to start pulling this plant away from my southwest facing window, because even though these plants can withstand bright light, they pretty much like a little bit like a bright light screened. So if you had like a gauzy curtain or something along those lines, and that probably would be better for this particular variety of plant. Now, I have this as a very well draining mix, and I water it pretty thoroughly once a week. In fact, I probably should be watering a little bit more if I keep it in my southwest facing window, because the intensity of the light probably dries it out a little bit more. And as you can see, some of it is puckered more than others. The other reason why plants may pucker is that this particular stem might not actually be getting water. So if I'm not watering it thoroughly and I'm watering it more on one side, then maybe these guys with these roots are going to get a little bit more water than this guy right here. But considering that this one is the reddish and this one's the one that's probably closest to the window, that one is probably getting the heavy end of the UV spectrum here, while these are being shaded out by this guy. Anyway, this has been a pleasure to grow. I mean, I really do love Crassula. I think they just are a really fun plant. This one has a little less interesting geometry than some of the others, but still a really cool plant to grow. And most Crassulas, I should say, are from South Africa and kind of the Cape Province area. So you could see this actually growing in the wild, and it probably is growing in a little bit more harsher conditions. As far as humidity goes, this guy doesn't really need any. Low humidity is perfectly fine. And as far as fertilizing goes, once a month is going to be perfectly fine for this guy as well. You could do a succulent fertilizer, maybe like a 111, a 011, or a 277, anything along those lines. And as far as propagation goes, actually you could propagate this by stem cuttings like this. If you could see that this one just kind of recently broke off, and this one will probably start getting roots relatively readily. So this one's been a pleasure to grow. Again, I love Crassulas. This one tends to form like a lot of colonies. So if you have a larger pot, like mine's a little thin at the top, and because this kind of spreads outwards, I would say giving it a little bit of a wider base is going to be great for this plant.